It was all about you.
I know how you roll. Exactly.
Welcome, everyone, to the council's business meeting. We thank you for being here. Today is February 20th. It's 2024. We're at the county building on the third floor in the county chambers. It's 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We welcome you. Thank you for being here. We'll first start with the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Bucky Whitehouse. Thank you, Bucky. Chair recognizes Councilman Wardle.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to put a motion on the table to amend tonight's agenda. If we could amend, first of all, and table the minutes, item 6A, business and work meeting minutes from February 6th. We do not have enough of a quorum to vote on those tonight because I will have to abstain. Also, if we could amend Resolution 9A and strike the wording in the resolution on the tourism fund for $150,000. We'll be bringing that back on another night for the very same reason. And then also, if we can add in after recognitions to bring Jason Vernon to present the PILT payment, payment in lieu of taxes from the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources. Yeah, we'll have it as 5C. Does that work? Okay. Nathan, where did you go? Does that work in terms of the resolutions? Yes. Okay, perfect. So that is my motion, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second it.
Hearing a second from Councilman hearing a motion from Councilman Wardle, second from Councilman Thomas. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, agenda stands revised. As far as roll call, we have our county attorney, Scott Broadhead, here. Thank you for being here. As far as council, we have Councilman Thomas, Councilman Hamner, Councilman Wardle. Councilman Stromberg and Councilman Hoffman are excused. County Manager's Office, we have Andy Welch, and making sure that all our components work, our IT components, we have Rochelle Custer. Thank you for being here. From the Clerk's Office, Tracy Shaw, thank you for being here. And each and every one of you, thank you for being here, spending your evening with us. That will bring us down to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience by raise of hand that would like to make a public comment? Council, seeing one. 4 minutes sufficient? Kathleen? 1 minute sufficient? Okay, is there anyone? Seeing no other one? You're up. Just please state your name, where you're from, make sure the green light's on, please.
We generally give 4 minutes, and if you can't take it, we bring karaoke up and
Oh,
like you to
okay.
finish with a
Allison
song.
volunteered for that. No. Okay. Kathleen Von Hatt with Lake Point City Council. I just want to take a minute and say that Lake Point wants to be part of the solution for finding connection into our county. However, we wanted to just voice our opposition to one of the proposed option on the master transportation plan that you're looking at tonight, which is the Oquirrh Mountain Expressway. We feel that this will negatively impact the residents of Lake Point by taking away the use of our green ravines designated as our open space. It will also impact the wells, watersheds, and aquifers in the mountain that we use within that open space. The highway would harm the quality of life in Lake Point by increasing traffic noises and smells and lights, as well as our ability to foster our commercial areas, which would take a lot of the traffic up into the mountains versus bringing them back onto SR 36. We want to be part of this discussion. We're not saying that there doesn't need to be a solution. We just want to help to try to find a different solution than the Oquirrh Mountain Expressway. And we look forward to working with you and to try to work that out as we all work towards our next master transportation plan. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That'll bring us down to recognitions, and Councilman Wardle, will you take control of the meeting?
Yes, the chairman is going to step down and do our recognitions, our employee recognitions. As he steps down, I think one of the values of this council, and I think we can speak with unanimity on this, is that the most important asset to our county is our employees. And that their service in our county is of great benefit, not only to our citizens, but to the services that we render. And so, Mr. Chairman, we'll turn the time over to you.
Thank you. Mr. Wardle, may I turn and face the audience sideways here, since you have control of the meeting? I'd like to recognize our employees and thank you for that information or comment. One of the greatest assets that we do have is our employees and people that work here and make it a great place to work, but make Tooele County function. We recognize by name those that have served 5 years, and we want to state their names, and then we go by 10 years, and then what we have today is 20 years. And those directors or elected officials that are over those departments, we invite them to come forward when we give recognition to those that have been here, in this particular case, the 10 and 20 years. So 5 years in service to Tooele County is our auditor, Alison McCoy. Thank you for putting up with us that long and being willing to put up with us. And then it says, Councilman Kendall Thomas, has it been 5 years?
5.
And the scars show it, right? So that's as a council member, not as a commissioner, right? So thank you for that. Desiree Taylor, with the Aging Services, Rochelle Eccleston, the Sheriff's Patrol, is that right, Sheriff? Thank you. Jeff Caldwell, Facilities, Carrie in the Auditor's Office, another 5 years. Alicia Perez in the Attorney's Office, Teresa Young, Daniel Walton, thank you, for 5 years. Now with 10 years, and we invite anyone who's going to be here to, as a director, to talk about it, is Michelle Aragon. She's served 10 years. We appreciate her being here. Is she here? No? Okay. That's the one you told me was not going to be here. The 20 years also service from the Treasurer's Office, Cindy Porter from the Treasurer's Office. And then, Sheriff, would you come up? I'm going to give it over to Sheriff to talk about his patrol deputy.
Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity. Tonight we are recognizing 20 years of service to Jeff Miller. Jeff, would you join me for a second? So with 20 years, Jeff, he has seen a lot. He has done a lot. And without question, I received more praise from the public for Jeff Miller and his service to this community. Without exception, there's always someone calling in to say how professional he is. And see, Jeff and I come from the same generation of law enforcement, which honestly, I think I have a couple years on him, but I honestly cannot remember working without Jeff in some capacity, whether it was when he was in the jail, when I was on patrol and he was in the jail, or I was on patrol and he was on patrol. And then when I was elected sheriff, Jeff has just been a permanent component of public safety here in the county, and he's done it for 20 years. And all I can do is offer on behalf of the citizens, the council, and the community is our heartfelt thanks for everything you've done. And just a small token of our appreciation for 20 years. And Jeff's, he hits that magical 20 mark, and he's going to leave us come April. And he's gonna be, his professionalism and his service is gonna be deeply missed. So I just wanna say thank you. And then, Jeff, who did you bring with you?
I brought my lovely wife, Jalen, my support, my everything, and I could not have done any of this without her.
Come on. Well, we gotta get a picture of this. Okay. And one last thing that I have for you. Our name tags, it's a star for every 5 years, and so this is his 20-year name tag. He'll get to wear it for a month, so.
And you can give him some time if you'd like.
All right, got your 20-minute speech prepared?
I want the karaoke.
Okay, what song?
I represent the sheriff right now, so I'm good, thank you. Thank you, sir, for your patience, for your teachings, for your training, and for the time that you've invested, not just in me, but in all your employees. It's always scary when we get a new sheriff, but I can say without hesitation, as much as I respect Sheriff Park, which he's a great man, you're the right man for this job, and you came when we needed you, so I appreciate it, sir.
Very good. So council, last thing I would mention is I kind of went through these names quickly, but on the 5 years, that's still a long time, and a lot of their efforts not lost. And thank you, Dan, for bringing your support that you have here, and Alison for your willingness. And I hope you take this back to Carrie, how much we appreciate her and all those. So.
So we will prepare for item 5C. Jason, if you want to come up. Mr. Chairman, I turn the meeting back to you. Or hold it, not yet, Jason. 5B, Jones and Demille. So, Mr. Chairman, I turn the meeting back to you.
Thank you, Councilman Wardle. 5B, yes, thank you.
Thanks for letting me come up again. Councilmember Thomas has heard this spiel a couple times now. I'm sure you guys have already had a chance to read all 370 pages of this report, and I'm sure you fell asleep doing it. So we're grateful to be here. I brought some of my coworkers with me today. I'll introduce them at the end. These two are kind of leading the Tooele County office as we continue to grow in this county. So I'll introduce them at the end. Yes. Can you see it there? Is that yours? Yeah. Oh, that's yours. I had the agenda up. Okay. There we go. Sorry. You're like, wait a second. Okay. First off, I want to just talk about quickly our process, and I'll try and keep this to a minimum. I know you guys have busy schedules, so I don't want to take too much time. just quickly talk about the general scope of the project. We were contracted with the county and selected by the county to do the transportation master plan. We subcontracted to WCG Wall Consulting Group. They helped us with the modeling portion. The reason we brought them on is their expertise mostly in this area. They've done a lot of modeling for the state, and we used the statewide model when we did the modeling and updated that basically for the county. So to talk about the process quickly, first we did our data collection, which you probably saw some tube counters out there to get some counts on the roads. We collected transportation plans from each city or town that had them, some didn't. We did a safety analysis, went through the safety components of the plan, which you can read more in the report on. I won't go into great detail on that. And then we took that information and plugged all of that information into our modeling that we did with WCG, and came up with basically a complete roadway network that we see will help benefit the county in the next 20 to 30 years. This model that we put together was based on full build out by 2050. Not saying that that's going to happen by 2050, but the hope is that these roads will, or this plan will give you a guide so that future developers and future development you can guide developers as they come in. What we hate to see is when developers come in and the county doesn't have a plan, and then they built 70 houses in the way of a roadway that needs to go in, and now you can't do it because it's too costly. And so you can see up here on the screen I have two maps. One on the left is the current roadway classification network. The nice thing about this map is instead of having a 370-page report to read through, this gives you a general feel for the roads in the county on a high level. The one on the left that you can see is the current roadway classification. The one on the right is the future roadway classification. I'm going to point out specific roads here. Can everybody see that okay? So on this map, we have dotted lines and solid lines. This map is showing the future roadway classification network. Sorry, this PDF is giant, so it takes a minute to load. Basically, the solid lines are the ones that the county needs to maintain control of throughout the lifetime of the county. The dotted lines can be taken over by the city or municipality that's adjacent to it. The reason we gave you this map is as municipalities expand or annex, a lot of times the roads get taken with them. And the county gets left with no control over connectivity throughout the county. So this map is showing you what roads the county needs to maintain control of. So I'll point out a few. You can see up here at the top, you have Saddleback. You have the extension of, I don't know if you can see my mouse, the extension of 138 up to the Okra Expressway. You have, let's see, the Drew Bay Road that needs to be maintained, and several others. We call this 34th, I think it's 34th North, 33rd. That one as well, until you get over into this area, over here, then at that point, the city can take over from there. Grantsville has their own plan of this western portion of the city, and we've actually brought all of that data from that plan into this. So that gives you a general idea of what roads you need to keep control of within the county. This is the 55-page report. I'll go into that in a little more detail in a minute. I'll quickly breeze through this. You have the roadway surface type map shown here, shows paved dirt and gravel roads. You have your average daily traffic with each vehicle class. You can click on that and it gives you all the data, so the daily average, or average daily traffic, the ADT, as well as all the classification within it. This is your accident history, so your heat map of where the most accidents occur, as well as the active transportation map. This was brought in by what the county already had in place. This was adopted pretty recently, and we just brought that in as part of the plan itself. This is your proposed future road phasing, maybe. It's gonna glitch out on us. It really is there, I promise. The internet I'm connected to, I don't think is loading that well. We'll come back to that. This is your short range project list. So these are the projects that need to happen between 2033 and 2040, 2023 and 2033. The long range are those that need to happen between 2043 and 2050.
So the short range one, just back up one there.
Yes,
Did you say between 23 and 33?
yes.
Which ones have you identified or were on there, so the public and everybody will kind of know which ones were?
And this is all based on demand. We put this, let me back up one step as well. There's two options here for this is the Ochre Expressway, and then there's another option where you go through Butterfield Canyon. The issue with Butterfield Canyon is it's astronomically expensive. We're talking billions of dollars to go through the hill. We met with the UDOT team, and there's been several studies done. UDOT hasn't solidified a plan yet. I will say the Ochre Expressway is gonna be highly, how do I say this? Pushed by UDOT more so than the county, because UDOT will be the one to, I would assume, build that to relieve some of the I-80 congestion. The Butterfield Canyon option, that's been studied in depth as well. It's not very feasible, but it is something that's been looked at in the past. We met with UDOT several times. There's not been any alternatives shown to us that they've studied either. We've talked with the county, with Jacob, the county engineer as well. Talked to him about the history on that, and really those are the only two options that are on the table at this point to help with the I-80 congestion, but a lot of it stems from environmental issues with the lake as well, up north of I-80.
Just real quick on that, as we had the Transportation Committee out last week, and when we look at WFRC's regional plan, Ochre Mountain Expressway is a long range out there.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be built in the next 10 years. That became very clear in the funding cycles that they're proposing. So we know we need something to alleviate the traffic, but the state is going to do other things first.
Yeah, I think there's other things such as the extension of, let me pull this up. This road here, the phase, let's see. Phase 2 of.
Mid-Valley Highway.
Mid-Valley, yes, thank you. Mid-Valley Highway, I think that one's probably more of or my understanding is that that's more of a priority to the county and to UDOT. So really this plan is very fluid, I should say that as well. This all depends on that level of growth that the county sees. As the county slows down in growth, this plan pushes by X amount of years. And so I want to make sure that as the council, you understand that this plan is fluid, but it gives you a place to start with to know where the roads need to go.
As a suggestion, and I talked to the Transportation Committee when they was out here February 6th, it would help if we put names on those roads.
Yes,
Not on every road, but the roads that, like the Oka Hill Expo 33rd Parkway, and the other roads that are, you know, so they can identify them, because public generally is not going to know where those roads are.
Yeah, I thought I had that fixed. I really did. I even told Rochelle that before the meeting. When I pulled it up in the office, it was working, but for some reason it's not here. And I don't know if that's because of my internet connection or what, but I'll look into that.
Okay.
That was one concern that the Planning Commission had as well.
And Kathleen, to your comments earlier tonight, I think that the fluidity is what we can discuss. And that there would be some priorities that we may be able to massage on the east side of the valley before, because I just don't see UDOT making that their priority right now. Yeah, so.
Really, these are, in the plan, as far as the plan goes, these are the two options that we've come up with to help with that relieving of the congestion. That's what we showed in the model based on the UDOT model as well. And that said, it's fluid. So as UDOT continues to research that and continues to look for a different alternative, I think that's something that we'll need to update in the future. So, any questions on that piece? Okay.
And then one other comment is.
Yeah.
I guess there is.
And then just also is the right-of-ways. It's important that we get these right-of-ways.
Yes.
Established, and right-of-ways not, what's the right word? It's not right-of-ways, is it? But anyhow. Yeah, the corridors
yep.
established, so that it's expensive as all get out now, wait 10 years.
Yeah.
And as we met with over the legislative session, Councilman, I think that's one of the most appropriate comments is we rank the priorities. And we've reestablished how we use our corridor preservation funds through COG. You'll see us focus more on corridor preservation and buying those lands because it is only going to get more expensive.
Right.
And that's what Carlos Becerra, the director at UDOT, has asked that we make a priority, so.
Okay, so I'm not gonna go into any more detail on those. This second to last page is your documents page. As you click on those, if you click on this Transportation Master Plan report, it pulls up this. When you click on the appendix, it's going to pull up this appendice. I'm going to warn you, when you pull this up, it's gonna take a minute. This file is giant. The images themselves, I'm gonna look into figuring out how to downsize that without jeopardizing the pixels within the pictures. But right now it's slow. This is a direct link to your general plan. So this is kind of a one-stop shop for you. You can pull this up in any meeting and pull up any of your documents within this. This is your road department website. This is your land use ordinance. And this is your Tooele County GIS website. All within the one tool. So you can pull this up and pull any of those up in meetings too. On this last page is a simple definition sheet for the public. So as they go through this, they can understand some of the terms that are being used in the report as well as the map. That's kind of a high-level overview. You can get into the weeds on this quite a bit. I know in the Planning Commission I took a little too much time, so I'm trying to keep it short. Any additional comments on the council side?
Any questions or comments?
I'll just make a comment. So we just put this on the agenda right now just for discussion. Planning Commission adopted this, and so we'll have to adopt this as well, but we wanted to give them a chance to present it, give you some time to read all 197 pages, and then we'll bring it back at another meeting for formal adoption. So right now, we're planning on putting it on the next meeting for adoption, but we just want, do we have access to the website then?
Yes. Well, Rochelle, did I get you this link? Do you know?
We need you to change the logo before it goes
This one?
live, yes.
We have a new
I'll
logo.
send you the updated one.
Okay. we can
But you
do
do
that.
have the document, but I know that you sent out, so we can get you that copy of that, but I think it's easier to see on the interactive map to look at some of the roads, so if you could get that.
I'll
update,
try and
get that to us.
downsize that file too on the appendix, so it's not taking forever to load, so. Really quick, do you mind if I introduce my coworkers really quick to the council?
Please do.
You wanna come up? So this is Matthew and Dan. They work out of our Springville office, but we have an office, you're gonna have to explain it, I don't,
Half
you
a
know
block
better than
away.
me.
So just
Wonderful.
in the tower there. So, yeah, we're at the Springville office. We've worked a lot with Tooele City, Lake Point, Grantsville. We have a lot of good stuff going on out here, and we just wanted to make more of a showing to know that you've got more of a local presence here, and we're looking for the right person to sit in our office here, and once that's there, then they can even be even more of a resource. But yeah, we just wanted to say hi and.
So
make
if
sure
you know anybody, let us know.
Yeah, we're hiring.
Well, thank you for coming out and all the way from there to be here again, and appreciate your hard work on that.
We're happy to help with whatever we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So, that'll bring us down to 7 on the consent, on the check registry, that's online. So,
Oh, no, we've got 5C still.
I thought we tabled,
No, we moved Mr.
I
Vernon.
apologize. Jason, skipped right over the DNR. We don't want to skip over the DNR. Department of Natural Resources. Jason, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, council members. I appreciate you accommodating me. And I'm sorry I wasn't here earlier for the meeting at 5:30. My name's Jason Vernon. I'm the regional supervisor for the Division of Wildlife Resources out of our central region. I'm here tonight to present the annual payment in lieu of taxes, the PILT check to the county. So it's kind of good news, bad news. In this county, we have very few DWR lands. I think primarily Blue Lake out on the border, and then Fitzgerald WMA down towards Vernon are the two primary properties that we have. So with that, not very many acres, which means it's a not extremely large check. But we do appreciate the cooperation and teamwork, partnership that we feel like we have with the county. The check tonight is in the amount of $336.97. And of course, that's in lieu of the taxes that you don't realize because of the state properties, the Division of Wildlife properties in your county. Before I hand that off, I just wanted to maybe mention a couple of things we've been doing in the county, and then any questions that you might have. Recently, we captured 10 bighorn sheep on the mountains over here and put GPS radio collars on them. So we're able to track them wherever they are throughout any time of the day or night. Those collars will last anywhere from 3 to 5 years, and just to kind of see how the population's doing, where they summer, where they winter. And then we also took some blood and nasal swabs to get a disease profile on that herd. We have about 130 animals on there now. If you remember, back in 2016 or 17, we depopulated that population of bighorn sheep due to disease. They have a mycoplasma disease that can really wreak havoc on them, and we wanted to kind of start fresh. So we left that population, depopulated for about 2 years and then brought in some new bighorn sheep. It's a challenging mountain range. We've found that domestic sheep, which carry the mycoplasma, they're not affected by it, seem to make their way up there, and when they have contact with the wild sheep, then they transfer that over. And it's not just animals coming on. Our bighorn sheep seem to move, and they like to head out to the desert for whatever reason. So we kind of watch them go out there, they get lost, and then they come back up to the mountains, but you know, we don't know who they get to see while they're out there. So so that's a big effort. We have, like I said, about 130 sheep out there, and we offer 5 tags annually for those sheep. The other thing I wanted to mention was Settlement Canyon Reservoir. Of course, we're aware of the tragedy that happened out there earlier this year. We've been working with the irrigation company to try to identify some safety measures and what that might look like, especially during the winter months when there's some more additional risk involved with fishing out there. We've been in contact with them, and we've told them we'd like to be part of the solution. We'd like to continue to have angler access into the reservoir and allow people to fish, but we want to make sure it's done safely as well. And obviously, I know the county and the irrigation company want that same thing. So hopefully over the next couple of months, we'll be able to sit down and come up with a plan and have something in place for this winter so that we might be able to avoid any of those situations again. So those are kind of the hot things going on in the county right now, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any or concerns.
Council, any questions? I have a couple, if you don't mind. When
For sure.
3 to 5 years after the battery goes dead on the collars, how do you recover those?
We don't. We do a couple of things. We'll probably fly again, and we'll usually fly with a helicopter, and a person leans out the window and shoots a net gun on the animals, and then they hop out and hobble them and trade those over. So we would probably, before the 5 years, we would probably try to capture some of those same ones while we know where they are. If we don't get them all, then we'll probably look for them specifically. There are going to be some of those that we won't capture, and they'll just live their life with those collars on them. And we make it so they're loose enough that they can grow into those and doesn't really affect them at all. So
if you sell tags, so if somebody harvests those, they give the collars back to you.
Right, exactly, yeah. And part of those, one of the things we're looking at out there as well, and I should have mentioned, is mortality. We put 10 collars out, 2 months ago. When an animal dies, the collar obviously sits still, and if it sits still for like 48 hours, we'll get an email sent to us from satellites and telling us the collar, there's a mortality signal, and then we'll go out immediately and try to collect that collar and try to identify how or why it might have died, whether it's a disease or a predator or what it might be. So this is a really important herd for us, so I'm sure that we'll continue to be capturing them and putting more collars on them and try to watch them through time.
How far do they move? Do they migrate? Do they go north, south, east, west? What's the range normally?
Their migration is really seasonal, so it's more elevation than it is north or south or anything like that. So in the winter, they try to move down a little bit and try to stay out of the snow. Mm-hmm. When they get out of those cliffs, then they become prey for the cougars and things. So there's a balance there for them. And oftentimes the animals that move out to the desert that are just kind of looking around are rams looking for a different place to live and breed. So, but yeah, it's not really a migration off of the mountain. It's typically up and down the mountain, kind of like our deer herds and our elk herds, similar to that.
Wonderful. Last comment, I'd say that the county has invested some funding for the Fitzgerald property. As along with, we had 2 private donors from Cabela's and Sportsman's Warehouse. We had 114 volunteers out there, and we'd love to continue to work with the DWR and DNR to make that a progressive place for the wild bird habitat.
Yeah, that's been a great partnership, and we're glad that it's, hopefully it's working out for you and your partners as well, and for the county and its partners, and we would continue with that. I don't see why that would change anytime in the future, so thank you for your help on that. It's kind of one of those WMAs that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and it's good to have somebody out there that has some passion for it and can love it and take care of it a little bit. It's a harsh environment there,
It is.
so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who can I give?
Our auditor.
Okay, thank you.
In the future, with that kind of amount, we usually do a really big check.
Well, I can see if I can do quarterly, if you'd like, so. And as always, if there's ever anything that you need, please contact me, and I'd be glad to talk.
Wonderful. Thank you. That'll bring us to the check registry. Again, that's on the online if you want to know any checks that are coming out of the county and to whom and where they're going from where. I would look for, Chair to entertain a motion for the check registry.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adopt the consent agenda check registry.
Second.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Wardle, second from Councilman Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those may oppose say nay. That brings us down to the consent agenda contract settlement agreement that we discussed in the work meeting. And I'll bring up Nathan Harris. Anything to add, Tooele County and Jerry Houghton?
Just one thing, I would ask that you authorize the county manager to sign, because it's his signature block on that contract.
Wonderful. Any other questions or comments from the council? Chair, and entertain a motion.
So move.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Thomas, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Wardle. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose say nay. Sounds unanimous. That'll bring us down to resolution ordinances amending and increasing the 2024 budget. Alison McCoy, she had talked. Do you want me? Sure. For public to hear.
All right, council, as mentioned earlier, we do have a couple of budget adjustments. Most of these are just rolling over funds from the first of the year, but we do have some new ones. The first ones that we have are from the clerk's office. One is to redo some salaries from the previous budget year for $6,963. We also have one from the clerk's office for some desks for $10,000. We have one from the sheriff's office for the peer support group that we talked about for $2,500. One for a lighting project at the jail for $41,000. One to put the LATCF funds into play for just over $3.2 million. One from the road shop, for the road shop. Again, this is just because the project wasn't completed by the end of the year. This is just around, just over $155 million. Or, no, $155,000. I'm sorry. No, $155,000.
Okay.
That's all. I'm sorry.
Tracy?
I shouldn't have even done that.
Tracy, you guys need desks in there? Okay, wonderful.
And then we will, and we will bring back the tourism one.
Thank you. Allison, any other questions for Allison? And Chair to entertain a motion to open up public hearing.
So moved.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Wardle. Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is now open. Is there anyone by raise of hand that's in the audience that would like to speak to amending and increasing the 2024 budget as we discussed it? Seeing none, Chair to entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Thomas, second from Councilman Wardle. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is now closed. Excuse me, all those may oppose. Okay, that sounds unanimous. Chair to entertain a motion to approve amending and increasing the 2024 budget as described.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2024-02 as amended.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Wardle, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose say nay. Sounds unanimous. That'll bring us down to B, establishing the 2024 annual leave cash out and to discuss that, our county manager, Andy Welch.
Any other discussion, any other questions after the work session? This is just to have a resolution so employees know for sure that we're doing the cash out this year, and it has the form that we're going to include as well. This would be in November. We allow employees to cash out up to 40 hours of annual leave to keep our balances down. For sometimes people can't take leave, and so this helps to keep those that can't take leave and others that are just save leave. It allows us to keep the balance of their leave down.
Wonderful. Any other questions, council? Chair to entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve Resolution 2024-01.
Hearing a motion to approve the resolution of the cash out program, the resolution 2024-01 from Councilman Thomas. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Hearing a second from Councilman Wardle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those that may oppose say nay. Sounds unanimous. Now, let's bring us down to the rezone of 1,102 acres west of South Rim to MU 40 to A10 from Trish. Trish is not here. Is there any other questions or comments from the council? Rochelle, you'll be able to answer if there's any other questions. If not, then chair to entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2024-03.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Thomas for approval. Is there a second?
I reluctantly second it. I know that that doesn't matter, but I'm really struggling with how we're gonna get roads in there. So I know that we'll do the rezone, but I think on the subdivision side, I'm very, very concerned about water tables, about sewer. And I think that that's something we probably need to look at even more so as we start to talk about, this is 1,000 acres, it's 100 homes that could potentially be built based on a subdivision. That just concerns me, and I just think that needs to be on the record, so.
Thank you. Hearing a motion from Councilman Thomas and a second from Councilman Wardle. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those that may oppose, say nay. That is passed. That will bring us down to appointing and swearing in Joy Peters as an interim replacement for the Tooele County Assessor. Andy Welch.
Just briefly, as you recall, Jake Parkinson, our assessor, resigned at the end of January. And the Republican Party of Tooele selected Joy Peters to serve the remainder of Jake's unexpired term. And so the county council must now appoint her as the interim replacement county assessor, and she's here today. If you'd like to
Would you please stand?
come meet her, I guess.
Please come and introduce yourself. Oh, just introduce yourself, please.
I'm Joy Peters, and I'm very fortunate and excited to be able to have the opportunity to serve. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you, as I have been, just a different level.
Wonderful. Would you mind having a seat, and then we're going to pass the resolution, or consider passing the resolution, then have you sworn in. So before us, council, we have a resolution of 2024-03, as the Tooele County Republican Party has selected Joy Peters to serve the remainder of Jake Parkinson's term. Is there a chair to entertain a motion?
Hey, I'll make that motion because I'm the councilman that has been assigned to work with your office. So I will make that motion, Joy. I'm excited.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Thomas, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Hearing a second from Councilman Wardle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those may oppose. That's unanimous. And so we'll take some time for our clerk, Tracy Shaw, to come down and Joy, would you mind standing up? And
Of course.
Tim?
Tim, you can take whatever pictures you'd like to.
Stand down right here so that
We will need the shot your face in the back
of my head.
Oh, I'd much rather the other way.
Tracy, will you make sure that microphone's turned on?
Yeah, the microphones are on,
It's
so
on.
that way everybody can hear us talking. That would be great. All right, so we're just going to go through a little closer, okay?
We can do that.
We can do that. We're going to go through the oath of office, which will become a permanent record as part of the Tooele County records. And so I'm going to read this off to you, Joy, and I would ask that you raise your arm to the square and repeat it after me, okay? Say, I state your name.
I, Joy Peters,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations, Madam Assessor. All right, please sign for me here.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your new assessor.
Thank you so much. Would you like a copy of this emailed to you?
I would love that.
I will send it your way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Joy.
Thank you.
Any, I don't see any board appointments. I'm
Mr.
looking.
Mr. Chairman, it appears that we have two appointments, one to the Fair Board, or two to the Fair Board, and then two to the Weeds appointments. So I would like to make a motion that we appoint to the Fair Board and thank, at the same time, Mindy Walters, Wyatt Harding, Paul Cook, and Douglas Webb for their service on the Fair Board, and announce that Clifford Russell, Mike Larson, Lloyd B. Hunan, and Patty Deacon Daly will, I would submit their names for appointment.
Council, motion's been made from Councilman Wardle. Any further discussions or comments? And we'd look for a second to that motion. Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. All those in favor of appointment to the boards, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those may oppose, say nay. That sounds unanimous. Thank you.
And then
For
Mr.
the Weeds,
Go
yes.
ahead.
For the Weeds Board, reappointments there. Councilman Wardle, would you like to read them off?
Yes, Daryl Johnson and Kyle Bateman have both been recommended and expressed interest in being reappointed to a second term on the Tooele County Weeds Board. And so I would submit their names for reappointment.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Wardle, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those that may oppose, say nay. And ladies and gentlemen, just for the record, if you'd like to serve on a board that the county has, we invite you to go to our website. Certainly, you can call the county also. If there is some interest, we'd love to have you be part of these boards. This is what makes a great community. Council updates, Councilman Wardle.
We attended the NACO meetings last week, and one of the committees that I sat on is Community Economic Development and Workforce. There were some startling statistics that came out of that meeting in the last jobs report as they previewed the report for us, and I think it's one that we need to pay attention. They start showing pre-COVID levels, COVID levels, and then post-COVID levels of age groups 14 to 23, 14 to 24, and then 25 to 43, 44 in that age group, and then those above the 47-year-old age group. Two of the sectors have rebounded to pre-COVID levels, and that is the two younger age groups. The one that is concerning, and I think that we need to watch, and it's because it hits in almost the perfect storm, is those who are closer to 50 and above in employment. They're not finding employment. The difficulty is also in housing, and we're seeing this confluence, not as much in the state of Utah yet, but it will be coming to the state of Utah, where generationally, when we talk about homelessness and affordability and retirability, that we're seeing a deep concern in that age group. And so as we talk about jobs, as we talk about economic development, and we talk about affordable housing, all of those things come into play when we're looking now at, whether it's state laws in mandating certain housing, so that people have the ability to not only be employed and not underemployed, but have the ability to take care of needs once they retire. that will become increasingly difficult in our state when the median home price is just closer to $400,000, $400,000 to $500,000. And so that's something that we've been asked to watch and to pay attention to as we develop our economic development plans. And we talk about this with the cities because our economic development has shifted, that we look at sustainable employment for age groups up and above 65 now, not just in the younger age groups, because we're seeing this gap is starting to widen and not rebound. So that is one of the reports, and we'll bring up a couple over the next couple of weeks, so.
I'll go next if you're okay with that, Councilman Thomas. I'm over the public lands, and if you didn't know, in Tooele County, 88.4% of the land in Tooele County is owned by the federal government. And so that becomes very interesting on how they're using and managing that. There are several areas that have been identified, smaller areas of 3 acres here, 4 acres there, that they do not like to take care of and don't. And we've petitioned to be able to utilize that as a county, and they're looking at that. Some of the things that they've looked at is also on the East Coast, they take a higher priority of what you can do and what you cannot do on public lands. One of the bills that was going through the U.S. Congress is trails and how they can be utilized or abandoned at any given time. And so those are things that we took exception to, because if those are trails that are being used for ranchers or other uses, we want that to continue unless they give some reason why they're going to limit that. The other thing I'd like to bring up and make sure you're aware of, the state legislation is still in session. There are many bills that are being discussed, that are being put forward. And as we come to the closer to the end of the session, things happen. Can't guarantee it happens every year, but it's happened almost every year that rules are then suspended and bills go through very fast. So if there are bills up there that you have concern about, I would invite you to voice your opinion on those. You get your voice out there to the legislatures. They're all online. And because those things will happen very quickly and they will affect you directly and immediately. Councilman Thomas.
Had a really good meeting with the State Transportation Commission. It was on February 8th and 9th, and on the 8th, which was a Thursday, they come out on a fun bus and took a tour of Tooele County. Went down I-80 and turned off at the Cargill salt plant and come back to Grantsville, and it was a lot of fun. They got a tour of this Cargill, and pretty informative. The most important thing was we focused on one issue, and that is we have lots of issues, but the whole state has lots of issues, but we focused on one issue, which was Mid-Valley Highway. They understood what we're talking about, and they're the gravel trucks. Thank you to the mayors of Tooele Valley. We had representatives from Lake Point. Kathleen was there. Had Scott Drubay from ERDA. We had, not Neil, who's their manager down there? Jesse. And so Jesse was there. Mayor Wynn was there. She did the introduction to the welcoming to the council, and did a wonderful job. Brittany and Rochelle hit a home run presenting for the county, so thank you for that good presentation. Facts. That's what these folks want to hear, is facts. And they ask a lot about the depot. How do we move munitions in and out? And so they called Mayor Wynn back up, and Debbie, as always did, just hit a home run with it. And so they're having another meeting in March 22nd, I believe, where they're going to talk about it. Hopefully, I'd be surprised if it happened that fast, but I'm going to be into that meeting to hear what's going on, to hopefully champion and cheerlead that need for Mid-Valley Highway. So had a good presentation, went well. Talked to 2 or 3 of them after, and they says, Kendall, we need to make this happen. Rhonda Menlove was our previous representative for a number of years to the county, and so we got good support, but they didn't promise us anything that they couldn't. So we're gonna monitor that and keep pushing along, following it too. Hopefully we'll get some funding for that and move forward. So that's my report.
Thank you, Councilman Thomas. Turn some time over to the manager for his.
I think he's just covered the thing that I was going to mention as well with the UDOTs coming out here. That's just a great opportunity to have them come out here and for us to show them the needs that we have, and having a new transportation plan that we just finished as well. Just, it's kind of all coming together. So that's all I would mention is we're grateful that they came out here to see the issues that we have, and we had a good team there to support and tell our story. So that's all I have.
Just, can I have one more thing? There was two other critical people that come and spoke to Ames. Rochelle, thank you for doing that. From the mining industry, the gravel industry. They were there and spoke in support of this. Talked to Thane from the Romney Group. They were there to support this. Aaron Peterson couldn't be there, but he was supportive of it. So we had a nice presentation, and we have broad support to it. So anyhow, thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And council, that brings us down to Chair to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. 8:01.